It's just a little ironic that when I come out, I have to go to the place where I'm being abused to escape. This is my story of the sexual abuse that I experienced for 10 years of my life from a pastor. This pastor was my babysitter, also my dad's best friend, our family's best friend. They were our babysitter as well as other kids. We trusted them. This thing that happened kept happening more and more frequently. A lot of times in the car or the van, an abandoned house that he happened to know was abandoned. Yeah, it was really weird. Sometimes we would be in a barn. I don't know how he found these places, but he figured a way. Oftentimes his kids would want to come with us. He would tell them no. They would wonder why. I would know what was going on. I was not excited about what was about to happen. As I got older, the things that happened would be more and more sexual. I was just so afraid to say no. And I just told myself that I didn't care. I just repeated in my mind that it didn't bother me. And that became my coping mechanism. That's kind of how I learned to cope with anything in my life. I met this friend. She was really cool. We spent the whole summer together. One night on AOL Instant Messenger, I decided to tell her about him. And I told her in detail a bunch of things, all the things that he did to me. I don't know why I told her. I guess I felt like I needed to tell somebody. The next thing I know, she has printed out our conversation and told the church, well, the pastor of that church. I'm like freaking out because he wants to have a meeting with me and my dad, 7 or 8 of us. They're asking me if these things are true. I don't want to tell them that they're true because I don't want him to get in trouble and I don't want anything bad to happen. I really love this family. The wife was like my third mom after my real mom and my stepmom that I lived with. They meant a lot to me. The last thing I wanted to do was cause any issues. I know that telling would cause a lot of issues, but it was something I had to do. But I wasn't ready to do it then. It was very scary when I was with all those adults and they were asking me if these things were true. That was traumatic in itself because it was just really embarrassing. And then I come out to my dad and my stepmom. It doesn't go very well at all. I made a video about that if you would like to hear my coming out story. I had to leave. They didn't make me leave. I just couldn't stay there. We were arguing and everyone was upset at each other, so I wanted to leave. I went to that family. They took me in. I was very thankful. They had a 3-bedroom house, 4 kids and their grandma, so it was extremely cramped, but it was nice to have them accept me and not judge me for who I was. It's just a little ironic that when I come out to my parents that I have to go to the place where I'm being abused to escape. It's like I'm going from one traumatic thing to another. But it doesn't end there. My dad starts blaming my gayness on the abuse that I had gone through for 10 years. He starts saying I'm gay because of what happened to me. I think that's when I realized I need to tell him I'm not gay because of something that happened to me. It's just something that you are. Deep down, I knew it all along since I was little. Every few days, my dad would keep asking me, is this true? Did that happen to you? Because he didn't believe me anymore. I kept denying it, but then one day I had had enough. I was tired of him asking me. Finally, I admitted it. And then my life kind of changed. I guess forever. It was scary because he went to the police and I had to go. And this was really terrifying for me because there was a room of 2 or 3 people recording the session. I had to tell them in detail many specific events that had happened. I was very graphic with what I told them. I guess I felt like I had to. It was really traumatic and scary for me, for sure. We see him walking on the sidewalk and he walks up to us acting all friendly and waves, and my dad is like super mad. He gets the hint and kind of frowns, puts his hands in his pocket and his head down, continues walking, shakes his head. He understands it's not okay. We're not friends anymore. That was the last time I ever saw him. I just realized. The next thing I know, I'm in my marketing class in high school. She reads the newspaper at the beginning of class. She starts talking about him and how he's been arrested after doing this stuff to this kid. This Poor boy, as she said. That was probably the most traumatic and terrifying moment of my life. It definitely was of my life until then. It was so awful to go through that and have everyone talking about me. My heart's racing, my palms are sweating. I want to run out of the classroom, but I can't. They're like, it's so scary having them talk about me in that way while I'm in the classroom, and I have to sit there and listen to it. It was really awful. I'm ready to be out of Indiana. I hated living in Indiana. I wasn't accepted there. Thankfully, my mom was a flight attendant and moved to Florida, so I followed her there. And a few months after I moved there, my dad calls me and he tells me I might have to go back and testify. I told him I don't want to testify, and I would be so terrified to do that. Just not something I'm gonna do. And he says, well, you might have to. I don't know what to say. I guess they used my recording. Thinking about it now, I'm realizing that they probably played what I said in the courtroom, which is really embarrassing to know that all those people heard in detail what happened. He also heard in detail. I wonder what he felt. I wonder if that made him feel bad that he had done those things. He went to prison for 7 years, and I think he got out in 3.5 or 4. He wasn't in there for a horribly long time. I've never heard from him. He never apologized. The abuse shaped me. It made me more empathetic to other people and what they are going through. It took a lot of strength to talk about this and make it a video. I did make it through. If anyone is going through something similar, there are resources for you to not have to keep going through that. You shouldn't keep going through that. You should tell somebody. It's very likely that if you're going through that, they're probably doing it to other people. I think that was probably one of the big reasons why I told my dad. I think that he was telling me he's probably doing it to other people, so you need to be honest. And now that I'm remembering, I believe that was also a big factor in my decision. I didn't want anyone else to have to go through that too. If I could help them avoid that or stop it, I think that was the reason. This video might not be relatable to a lot of you, which is a good thing, but have any of you guys ever had misplaced trust in someone where you trusted them and then they went behind your back and destroyed your relationship, took everything that you thought you knew about them, twisted it, destroyed it? If that has happened, let me know. Tell me a story of what happened to you. I love reading your comments and stories. It really, even if I can't respond to all of them, I really enjoy reading them, and it means a lot to me to know that I'm not alone. If you appreciated this video, leave a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. By leaving a like, it helps other people see the video who maybe they're too afraid to tell anyone what they're going through, or they don't think they can even make it through. But sometimes just knowing that someone else has been through the same thing or something similar, it can give you the courage and the motivation to figure out how to push through whatever you're going through. I really appreciate all of you guys being here. I will look for your stories in the comments.